in the previous video, we have learned about comparative adjective. So let's have a quick review. Can you tell me what is comparative adjectives? Well, comparative adjectives are the adjective words that we use to compare between two objects or two nouns, not more than two. We only compare between the two objects by adding ER or IER to the adjective word. Now, for example, he is taller than me. So tall plus ER, taller than. And another one is James is happier than Eddie. So happy and with Y. So we drop the Y and add IER. So it's become happier. Alright, now let's continue the lesson to superlative adjective. So what is superlative adjective? Actually, superlative adjectives and comparative adjectives, they both have the same purpose, is to compare between objects. But comparative adjectives used for comparing between two objects only. And superlative, we use it to compare for more than two objects. It can be 2, 3, or many more. Now, for example, if you want to compare all the mountains in the world, we don't use comparative because it is more than two mountains in the world, so we use superlative to compare all those mountains. So as the definition here say that superlative adjectives used to describe the extreme quality of one thing in a group of things. So what does it mean? It means that superlative adjective is looking for one thing in the group which has the best quality or has the lowest quality among that group. So what are the rules and forms of superlative adjective? Well, it is not so much different from comparative adjective. The rules are the same, but the form is a little different. Now, let me show you all those forms and rules. Alright, so what is the rule and form for superlative adjective that has one syllable? Can you give me an example of one syllable adjective? Well, let's have a look at this. So, cold is one syllable adjective word. It has only one sound. Cold, right? Now, for superlative adjectives, we have a different form for that. Different form from comparative adjective. Instead of adding ER, we add EST to the adjective word. Alright. Cold plus EST. One syllable word, one syllable adjective words, we add EST. What does it say? Cold plus this. It says coldest, right? Do you know what is coldest? Now, can you make a sentence by using the word coldest? Let's say Greenland is the coldest place in the world. I'm not sure, but just assume it is the coldest place in the world. So it means that everywhere in the world, Greenland is the coldest place. Very, very cold. Than any other places in the world. Alright, rules and forms that apply for two syllable adjective words. Now, can you think of an example of two adjective words? Well, there are plenty of them, right? Like lazy, crazy, right? And now let's take a look at syllable, right? Heavy. Now, heavy is an adjective. So, what do we do with heavy when it comes to superlative adjective words? Now, for heavy, because remember, because it is N in Y. So, what do we do with the syllable, with the word that end in Y? Remember, it's the same thing as comparative. We drop the Y and add IES. So, remember, drop the Y out. Drop the Y out and add IES. Now, what does it say then? Can you guess? It is heaviest, right? Okay. So, can you think of a sentence using the word heaviest? Maybe I can say, my dad is the heaviest person in our family. What about your family? Who is the heaviest person? Alright, so for adjectives that end in consonant, vowel, consonant, what do? The same thing as comparative adjectives. We add, we double the last consonant of the word. Now, think of an adjective that end with consonant, vowel, consonant. For example, the word thin, right? And here we have the word hot. So, consonant, vowel, consonant. So what do we have to do? We add another T to the word. Double the T, right? T is the last consonant of the word, so we double the T. And then we add EST. Okay, what will it become? Become hottest. Now, can you think of a sentence using the word hottest? Now, for example, this room is the hottest room among the other rooms in this school. Alright, now, if you look at this, look at all the form and the rules of superlative, it doesn't have the word then. So the word then only used for comparative adjective since it's compared to things. But superlative compare one thing among the others. So it's only looking for the extreme quality of one thing in the group of things. For example, we're looking for the cheapest shoes in the world. So we're only looking for one. So that's why we don't use the word then. Alright students, now it's time for us to do some work in our book. Please take out your pupil's book and turn to page 94. As you can see the example here, they are looking for the tallest boy among these three boys. Now, which boy is the tallest? Now, can you spot who is the tallest here? Please look at their height. Look at their height. Who's the tallest? Now, of course, we can see clearly. Tom is the tallest. So, you use superlative to compare between a group of things, right? Not only between two things, but more than two. Here we have Jim, Ben, and Tom, 3 boys, comparing using superlative. If you were to compare only 2 boys, Jim and Ben, you don't use superlative. What do you use when there are only 2 persons? You use comparative. So you will say, so we are going to look for the taller boy, who is taller than who. So you might say, Ben is taller than Jim, right? Do you understand? Between comparative and superlative. Superlative compare more than 2 things, but comparative compare only in between 2 things. Alright, to sum up the lesson of comparative and superlative adjective here, let's look at activity 2 here. On the same page, activity 2, look. So, the normal adjective would be this car is fast, right? So fast is the base form of adjective. But then the comparative adjective would say this car is faster than this car, right? So comparative adjective use faster instead of fast. Now, so to compare all the 3 cars, we use superlative adjective. So they said this car is the fastest. So they compare this car between these 2 cars, right? Alright, now let's look at the activity down here. We have here, number 1, thick. Okay, so we can say this is thick, right? If we were to just say about this book alone, but then if we compare this book and this book together, we can say this book is thicker. And then if we were to compare the 3 books together, we can say this book is the thickest, right? So again, thick, thicker, thickest. Okay. Number 2. Now look at these castles. Big, right? The castle usually they are very big. Now, this castle is big, right? If you compare this castle between this castle, you should say this castle is bigger, right? And then if you will compare the 3 together, you would say this castle is the biggest, right? The biggest castle. So, big, bigger, and biggest. Alright, number 3. Now look at these snakes. They look dangerous, aren't they? Now, look at the first snake, look at the second snake, and the last snake here, the bottom one here. If you were to compare their length, which snake is the longest snake? Can you tell? Well, of course, the first snake is the longest snake, right? Okay. So, snake is long, right? We can say, this snake is long. But we can say, this snake is longer. And then, we say, this snake is the longest. Alright, last question. So, look at the face. Can you see? They all smile, but who opened the mouth the biggest one? So here's the word happy. So what do you do with happy? you drop the Y, right? Okay, so we can say, the boy is happy. And then you can say, he showed a little teeth, so we can say, this boy is happier than this boy. And then the last boy, you can tell his mouth is wide open. So you can say, this boy is the happiest boy, right? This boy is happy. This boy is happier than this boy. And then you said, this boy is the happiest. Alright everyone, we have come to the end of our lesson. So I hope you all will understand the grammar that we have learned about comparative and superlative adjective. I hope you will continue learning at home and you can practice all this grammar in your grammar book that you have with you at home. Alright, have a good day and see you again in the next lesson.